Welcome to Buckets. I am your host, Brandon Anderson, here with Jim Turvey in studio. Jim Turvey, the upgrade for the day. They upgraded us. We went 5-0 last episode together on Buckets. So they brought us back. They put Jim in the studio. We're back for more. Sponsored, as always, by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. And you know the drill by now. Buckets every weekday, buckets on the weekend. We got live buckets, I'm sure, coming up. We got live shows during the week. Jim is fresh off an Action Island recording. It is the day. The day is here. We're recording on Tuesday, May 14th, and it is the tip-off of the WNBA season. So, of course, a reminder to download and subscribe not just to the Buckets feed, but to the WNBA Buckets feed. Jim, you're on that feed. I know you've got a few episodes out already. You'll be having those throughout the season. It's opening night. Caitlin Clark era is here. She tips off tonight with all the other, well, not all the other players, but I think there are 4 games tonight. Give us one pick for tonight for viewers and listeners who catch this right away today on Tuesday, and then give us one for Wednesday. Just the pick. You're going to have to follow on Twitter, on the app, and in the podcast to get the rest. But what do you like? One bet for tonight, one bet for Wednesday. And hi, welcome. Hello, hi.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's really fun to be here in the studio getting all things W today. Big day for W content, so that's been fun. I'll say my pick for today is Brittany Sykes. I'm either going to be on points, rebounds, and assists if they give me that. And I really like, if you want to go all the way to the top level of the escalator, top floor of the escalator, is her to lead the game in scoring. You can get at plus 750. So that was my favorite. Let's get all over Brittany Sykes against the Liberty tonight. And then for, I guess, depending on when you're listening to this, we'll say Wednesday night instead of tomorrow night, just to clarify. Wednesday night, my favorite play is going to be Arike Ogunbowale over points plus assists. Satu Sabali is going to be out of the lineup, so she's going to be scoring, but she also is a better creator at home. Her assist numbers were really high for home games last year. You said don't describe it, and now I'm describing it. Sorry. Arike points plus assists. I can't help it. It's natural. Arike points plus assists. Listen to the stuff for explanations.
And help me out as a bettor who doesn't know these players super well. Give me a team name for these two players. Where am I finding Brittany Sykes at as I look on the app?
Very good point. Washington Mystics for Brittany Sykes and Dallas Wings for Arike Ogunbowale.
Excellent. All right. So, yeah, I rest assured you'll be making plenty more bets on the W, both opening night and Wednesday night. Check those bets in the app. Check for the notifications on there. Watch on Twitter. You've got your beast article up on WNBA futures. A man after my own heart. I recognize that article. We love getting the futures up for all the teams. So follow there. Follow, of course, again, WNBA Buckets podcast and your new podcast that you're launching, Bet She Wins. Lots of W content, lots of other women's sports content there as well. So be sure to follow that. For today, we are covering Wednesday night, May 15th in the NBA. Thunder Mavs 2-2. Looked like we were going to have 3-1. I even had the notes all prepared that we had a pair of 3-1 series ready to close out. But no, the Celtics are 3-1, looking to close out unless Boston loses or both the Knicks and Nuggets series go 7. Wednesday night is our last day of the season with multiple games. So we will get to Boston very briefly. We will talk lots about Thunder and Mavs. We got 3 series tied 2-2. Like I feel like I have no idea what's happening in the playoffs right now. I don't. This should be the time for futures expert Brandon Anderson to be like laying the smack on what the right bet is. And man, I feel like who's going to win these series? I don't know what's happening right now. So exciting time to watch these games. This next 6-day stretch is going to be massive, both obviously for now and for the future of what some of these franchises look like. So I am excited. We're going to get deep into Thunder Mavs. We'll start with best bets at the top as usual. Jim, what are your best bets for Wednesday night?
We go Luka Doncic under 29.5 points. And we go Kyrie Irving over 28.5 points plus assists.
All right, so we are similar here. I'm going to start out with a game under. I'm going to take the Dallas OKC under 213.5, just the traditional under on the game. And then I'm doing a same game parlay that's very similar to your plays. I like the Luka points under 29.5. I'm going to take Kyrie over, but just the assists. So that is over 5.5. And I'll take PJ Washington, my man Tracy McGrady out there. Give me his points and threes over. So all of that together is a plus 650 bet. We'll talk it through about why I like it all. And if you just rather bet each part, we'll get to that as well. And then lastly, tied to the Kyrie assists, I like Kyrie as series assist leader, 7-1. Jim, that's a bet you and I talked about with Joe in our chat a couple days ago. And I keep texting each game, man, stock up, it's going great. And then I check the price, still the same price we bet it at 2 games ago, even though it's going really well for us. So definitely that might be my favorite, to be honest. So those are our bets. Hear the excitement for Celtics Cavs with all of our best bets not in there. We will have a couple angles for you when we get there. But let's jump into Mavs Thunder. Dallas at OKC. 2-2 in the series, heading back to OKC. I tweeted during game 4, man, it felt like Dallas was in control for a week. For like a week of games, at every moment of the game, it felt like they were fully in control. It felt like that for much of game 4 into the late third quarter. They had a lead into the fourth quarter, and then the Thunder stole one, and here we are tied 2-2 at BetMGM. The line for game 5 is Thunder minus 4.5. Total is at 213.5 and ticking up. So as we talk about the under that I like, you may not want to play that right away. We might be able to get an extra point or two on that if this keeps moving. So let's start with game 4 takeaways. A wild game, a game that felt dominant, but not. Like if you just watched the game and it was the 80s and there was no score bug down in the bottom corner, I think you would have felt like Dallas by 15, Dallas by 18, like they're in total control here. And they just never quite pulled away, as has happened the last couple of games. And this time, finally, in the fourth quarter, OKC came back and stole it. So, Jim, talk to me about some of the things you saw from game 4 and how that impacts what you're thinking going forward.
Yeah, I think the place to lead is Shai Gilgeous down the stretch was just absolute nails. You know, they had been throwing some funky looks at him all game, but I mean, he had that one shot. I think it was the one. I believe it's what tied up the game. It was maybe to get them with 2, where he went over the backboard and he couldn't help himself. He was kind of grinning as he went down the court. I mean, he was absolutely what you want your superstar to be in those moments. I think the other half of that coin, and now I will cut Luka some credit. He clearly is hurt out there. That's part of what we'll go into for the cap, I'm sure. But you and I both said this in the Slack. We don't want to overreact to small samples, and this is the tiniest of samples. But Luka missing that clutch free throw late and Chet hitting those 2 clutch free throws late kind of summed up how we feel about both of those guys. Chet's got that dog. The Thunder kind of have it too. And Luka, he just always leaves me a little bit cold. It's why I never could quite get there on Mavericks futures. Again, I want to give him some credit. He's clearly playing through like 7 different injuries at this point. And he's got his team, they very easily could have been up 3-1, but here's the thing, they aren't. And now it really is interesting because it becomes a 2 out of 3 series where the Thunder have home court for that mini series. And they have the best player on the court right now in Shai. Certainly with Luka injured, I'd argue even, when both are healthy, I think I'd rather have Shai, but it puts Dallas in a really tough position. So I think if you're assessing this series wise, even though the Mavericks have been the team that looked better the last, as you put it, the last week of basketball, I find myself coming to the Thunder side of things again.
Yeah, it is. I find myself having a hard time deciding where I'm at on this because I feel like I don't really love what I'm seeing from either team, to be honest. I guess to be fair, the eye tends to watch offense. That's kind of the natural way of watching basketball. And I think why it's hard to get a feel for this is it's been a really good defensive series for both teams. I honestly have thought Oklahoma City's defense has been good enough the whole series. I think what they have done against Dallas, for even as they looked ready to go down 3-1, I thought the defense was fine. I think the defense is happy with how things are going. Even the big PJ Washington games, I think, are honestly by design. I think that's what Oklahoma City is willing to live with on this team. It's the offense that hasn't shown up. And I don't know if a fourth quarter explosion necessarily changes that for me. Shea is hitting the middies. I think he had double-digit mid-range jumpers yesterday, which is great. Those are the tough buckets, but those are tough buckets. And it'd be great if you could get to the rim and finish there. That's a little easier. Or if you kick out to those three-point shooters and have them actually willing to fire and make them. We got it. We got in the fourth quarter. Lou Dort and Jalen Williams, who I'm slandering as the game was going on, both hit a couple of big shots late. Like, credit where it's due. They came through. They had to have those shots. But here's the shooting numbers for the game. Oklahoma City, the team that won, shot 38% from the field, under 26% on threes. The team that led the league in three-point percentage for the season has not been the case at all this series, and they don't even look willing to shoot anymore. You know, I love my two-pointers. 43% on two-pointers for OKC. That's a number that Dallas defense has been consistently good at this whole home stretch and now two entire playoff series at this point. I think we have to give credit that there must be something happening there. And they just don't seem like they're generating great looks. The bench has not come through. We know the Josh Giddey thing. Hilariously, he led the team in plus minus at +6 for the night in 12 minutes. I'm going to not give him credit for that. But look, if we're going to do the game, single game plus minus has to be mentioned. The bench played 65 minutes combined. They shot 4 of 15, 12 points. That's not good enough.
Great.
Oklahoma City won the game because they won the turnover battle, 8 for them, 14 for Dallas. And frankly, they won at the line. That's it. Both teams shot the same number of free throws, 24 and 23. Dallas made 12 of 23, half of them. Oklahoma City missed one. They shot 23 of 24. That's it. That was the game. And that was the game late. And that's how this went. The Mavs scored 15 in the third quarter, and that was what Oklahoma City allowed them to come back, even though they only scored 22. Not exactly this like a wonderful display of offense, but they got there. I've noted again on the twos, Dallas, 45% two-pointers. All 4 games now this series, Dallas is below 50% on twos. This is the team that is the James Harden style offense. Efficient twos, bomb lots of threes. They're not getting their twos. They haven't gotten them all series long. So I still feel good about Oklahoma City's defense. Clearly, Dallas's defense is looking good. So I guess while I'm on this topic, this is why I came to the under for game 5 is I think as we get late in the series, we know historically that's an under spot overall. Game 7, game 6, but game 5, 2-2, like this is going to feel like a game 7. Hasn't it felt like game 7 for like a week already? Like we're grinding things out here. And I looked at team totals here. I looked at Oklahoma City's team under. I looked at Dallas's team under, and I was like, well, light bulb. If I'm looking at both teams' team under, why not just take the actual under? And I kind of get a multiple out situation there. 213.5 right now. Totals from the series so far. 212 in game 1, 229. That's the game when Dallas had those zillion threes. Luka hit like 4 in the first quarter. PJ hit 7, I think. Exum or somebody hit 3 off the bench. Josh Green maybe. So that was the 229, then 206, 195 the last 2 games. I just see even more defense. And even as Oklahoma City made the comeback in the second half, it felt like it was defense. It felt like it was even more defense from them. So Matt and I on the preview for this series said, maybe we finally got an over series. I don't think so, Jim. I think we're on unders here. What do you think about the under on this one?
Yeah, what's really interesting to me is, as we were leading into the postseason, the Thunder were a team I was like, I think I'm going to zag on how I'm fading them. I think I'm a little bit light on them, but I think I've got a different take, right? Everyone's saying they're too small, they're too inexperienced. I was like, I think it's the 3-point regression. So I dug in the numbers and, thankfully I figured out that, it wasn't that, because what I learned was that the 3-point shooting in the first half of the season for Thunder was outstanding. Best in league and definitely above their head. The crazy thing is in the second half of the season, they had the 3-point shooting regression. They came back to earth, but their net rating was still the exact same. They still managed to survive because they were so successful on twos. Now they're missing the threes and the twos. And I think they really are tethered together because these guys aren't even looking to shoot now. You saw 3-point field goal attempts for them plummeted. They wouldn't take open looks. So if guys aren't going to respect that, they're going to crowd the the paint. It's going to make twos harder. So I'd love to see you. You have a really funny note here. It made me chuckle when I read out. Is Mark Dagnall alive? I do want to see. Can we get some moves from him? There's a lineup that I would love to see more of. It's Shea, J-Dub, Isaiah Joe, who we need more Isaiah Joe for the Thunder in this series. I really love him. Lou Dort and Chet. It seems like a small lineup, but Dallas is a team you can maybe get away with it against. That lineup had a plus 22.9 net rating in over 200 regular season minutes. But here's the really key thing, I think. They forced turnovers like gangbusters, 100th percentile for forcing turnovers. Those easy twos are exactly what OKC is missing right now. In the regular season, they scored 20.5 points off of turnovers. First round, they had 19.8. This round's all the way down to 17.5. That's a pretty notable drop in points off of turnovers. And this is a team that's not getting any easy looks right now with a pretty strong Dallas defense. Get that lineup out there that's really going to create some chaos and get some easy looks when your offense is struggling. Plus, Isaiah Joe, he kind of brings everything. He can shoot from three. He's super athletic, strong defender. I just think that he fits as a fifth piece in that Thunder lineup where, is it Giddey? Is it other Jalen Williams? Who is it? I think Isaiah Joe's the one to slot in there. I really like that lineup. I'd like to see more of it and some adjustments here from Coach Mark.
Yeah, Dagnall has been so good all season. He's the coach of the year. I thought he was deserving. I thought he was great in the first round also. I thought some of the little micro adjustments he made live during the game I thought were really good. Not really noticed that much because it was a sweep, but I thought he did a great job there. Good look for SGA in that opener when they needed the bucket to knock off the Pelicans. We need something, buddy. Like, we need some changes. And Josh Giddey is, I'm sure, just going to start again. Like that. This is the thing. Like, it's coming. I don't know what the point is. Like, you're playing him 12 minutes. The cat's out of the bag. Like, we understand where this is headed. So I don't know what the point is of trailing in the game every time to start out the game. I'm not sure what we're doing there. But Jim, you and I don't get to coach the team, so I don't get to decide whether Giddey is going to start or not. Quite frankly, we won't argue this right now, but I could do with a little less Lou Dort in my life. I don't need Lou Dort putting up 14 shots like he did in this game, 3 of 10 on threes. I know he's important defensively. I know he's good defensively. There's just too much Lou Dort. There's Lou Dort like rolling to the basket on screens. Why? Who cares? Nobody needs to defend that. It's just like clogging things up in the middle. He's dribbling a little too much for me. So I wondered, okay, who do I want in this lineup? I love me some Isaiah Joe. I don't think he's who I would pick here. So a problem that I have, to me, Isaiah Joe is more of a one-note player. I love him because the man has no conscience and shoots threes like he needs oxygen. That's how I play when I play basketball. So I respect that from a player. He's only getting up like 3 threes in 15 minutes a game. That's not enough. I need you to be Sam Merrill. I need you to like come in and the second you touch the ball, it's going up because I need the gravity. I need the shots. If you're not getting the volume up, like that's what you're out there for. Athletic enough, decent on defense, fine. I think I'd prefer Aaron Wiggins. He is not looking as efficient, but I think he offers more. He's attacking the basket a little bit. He can dribble and do a few things on his own. That's the thing I don't see from Isaiah Joe. He's got a little more size defensively, so it gives you a little more optionality there. He can rebound some, so I like that I think he balances the lineup out a little better. Again, in my dream world, maybe I get a little more Wiggins than Dort minutes a little bit as well, but that's probably not going to happen. I won't bet on that. Cason Wallace, I think, would be if you polled the crowds, I think he would be the choice here. Cason Wallace, I think, is the best player of the three. He's clearly the best defender. But again, I need offense, not defense. The defense is fine. I need somebody who's going to do stuff. Cason Wallace is just not ready to be super involved on offense. Like in draft talk this year is compared to Drew Holiday. I think it's a great comp for him. I don't need Drew Holiday Jr. on this team right now unless, again, it's instead of Dort because he's the main defender now. Okay, that's a little different. But I don't need two versions of that. I need someone willing to shoot the ball if you're Isaiah Joe, shoot or attack if you're Wiggins. I can't believe this. I wouldn't mind a little more other Jalen Williams out there.
He's been really come
good
over.
This series. Per 36 for the series, Jalen Williams, J. Will, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists per game. He's willing to shoot. It stretches the team out. He's 3 of 8 on threes. That's not nothing. He's a good passer. He has 8 assists in 54 minutes. I don't mind that. Like, give me a little more of the double pivot with Jay Will. I don't want less Chet. I want all the Chet minutes, but more of Jay Will with J Dub. I can't handle with the Jay William names. I can't do it, but give me both of them out there. Yeah, I need some optionality on the lineups, and I to pivot into our plays here. Neither one of us is playing Oklahoma City props. I think because of what we just talked about, because we want changes in minutes and lineups and don't really know what to expect. With Dallas, I feel like, especially the last 3 games, we're getting a pretty clear idea what to expect with how Oklahoma City is defending them and how Dallas is playing offensively. So both you and I are on Luka Doncic points under. I know that has to do with the injuries a little bit, but I know it's more than that too. So give the cap. Why are you fading Luka here?
Yeah, this is one of those where the books are just a little bit stubborn. I often am, big sample guy as well. But again, we need to look at this series and see it a little bit as its own distinct thing. And in this series so far, he's got 19 and then 29. And even in that 29 game, he had 16 in the first quarter and then was pretty much whatever after that. Then game 3, he goes for 22. And this most recent game back down to 18. Again, part of this is health, but there's nothing saying you can't play someone's unders when they're not perfectly healthy. So I really like the under look here. I do equate some of his struggles to Lu Dort. He's so physical with him. When you're already in you're already feeling a little rickety, and then someone's up in your business nonstop, even if it's a little performative at times. I think that's how you see Dort's sorts defense, a little bit more performative than actually effective. But the point being, Luka is not getting the looks that he normally does. He's not shooting as well. He's not getting to the line as much. There's not as much there from Luka right now. And so if they're going to keep giving us this 29.5, it's as simple as I would project him more in like the mid 20s, even that he's only cleared once, right? Obviously the bigger sample is still a thing here. And very much we've seen multiple players this playoffs go from looking like they were, 2 minutes away from, pulling the wheelchair out and wheeling off the court to then the next game looking like their all-star selves again. So there's always that risk. But overall, I think the median outcome here is looking at the under for Luka.
Yeah, as I said in our group chat, Occam's HGH on that one, perhaps, as to how we magically get to this performance on the next day. Luka, 22 or less, 3 of the 4 games this series. It's not just that he's missing all the shots, though. He's missing a lot of shots. The threes outside of the one game have been bad the whole postseason. But if you look at kind of the attempts, he's down on 3-point attempts. He's not taking quite as many anymore. Free throw attempts are down. The 2-pointers, 43% for Luka. So it's not just that his teammates aren't finishing. He's not getting those finishes either. So 22 points a game. I just think this line is way off. And I almost wonder if it's the right move to just play. Like, when I see a line so far off like this, I naturally am going to go to alternates and well, should I be playing the 29.5 or should I actually look for like an under 24.5 or something? Because he's going under that also. Like, it's not close on these. Shouldn't I respect that Luka could put up 30 in a heartbeat if it's going well and make it more of a payoff for me if I'm right about my cap? Like, again, I remember last season I did this on James Harden a bunch. We played a bunch of Harden alternate unders. Luka is James Harden. Like, it kind of makes sense. We're in a similar spot here. So I like that. I like the under 29.5, especially in building my same game parlay that I gave out. I think that's the spot where you don't need to be so aggressive necessarily because you want to make sure you're hitting the legs. So I'll take the under there as well with you. I'm going to start on Kyrie here because we're both in on Kyrie, but I'm on the assists, you're on the assists and the points. So let me start with the assist part. Game 1, Kyrie has 7 potential assists. So since then, in the last 3 games, if you pull up potential assists on NBA.com and just search last 3 games, it gives you the entire NBA postseason's last 3. So it gives you like Jokic's last 3 games, but it also gives you all the round 1 guys too. And just from the entire NBA last 3 games, Kyrie Irving leads the NBA in last 3 games potential assists at 16.3 per game, up from 7 in game 1. I said 7 assists. No, 7 potential assists game 1. I think he only had 3 actual assists. So how is that paying off? 11 assists, 7 and 9 the last 3 games. And again, the number here is over under 5.5. I think the books haven't caught up to the way that this series is playing out. We are getting, much as we criticize it, we're getting less Luka ball. We're getting more Kyrie playmaking, especially early. Kyrie's in the fourth quarter is becoming the closer, looking for a shot clearly, but he is handling more and he is creating, really, frankly, a lot of the PJ Washington looks, a lot of those open corner threes. Kyrie is sometimes the guy that's opening those things up, and he's getting as many potentials as Luka here. So over 5.5 again, similar to what I said with Luka. The number seems a little low. Like I almost want to be more aggressive here. So I'm going to put that one into the parlay, but I don't mind looking like 8 or more assists. Again, he's done that 2 of the last 3. He missed it by 1 in the other one. That's plus 290. That's a bad number to me. I think you can play that as well. I'm trying to give you, the listener, options here. I think I'd like to play any of these 3 parts. We'll do PJ in a minute. I'd play any of them individually. I'd play them all together. You can kind of piece together what you like best here. But I think Kyrie assists, and then assists leader for the series. Here's the numbers. He's got 30 through 4 games. Luka's 31. That's the lead. Shea is 28. Kyrie is plus 700. He is 7-1 to lead the series in assists, even though he's 1 back and ahead of Shea by 2. If you look just since game 1 counts, has to count in the bet, but just since game 1, Shea 19 assists, Luka 22 assists, Kyrie 27 assists. He should clearly be the leader based on the last 3 games we're watching and how this is playing out, but he only had 3 in game 1. The other 2 guys had 9, so I think we're getting a real bargain here. 7-1, I think, is a terrible price on that number. And who knows? Adjustments will come. We don't know if Kyrie will keep getting all the assists. Like, maybe Dallas will adjust. Maybe Oklahoma City's defense will change. The assists went down in the second half as Oklahoma City played them a little different. Things don't last forever. So that's, we're going to lose some of these bets. But I think based on what we've seen right now, looking to Kyrie assists is the way to go. I don't love his points because it's a waiting game, and I need it all to come in the fourth quarter the way it's gone lately. So add anything else you've got on the assists and sell me on why I should include points in my bet here.
I'll be relatively brief on the assists. I figured you were going to be on the assists, so I wanted to add the point side of this because I do think, and maybe the better way to approach this is to play the assists and then to look towards an extreme on the points, because I do think, and this is a little bit more narrativized side of it than digging in the numbers here, but Kyrie, I do think, is a player who really picks his spots when it comes to scoring. I think we all think that he could easily carry a bigger load scoring if he wanted to. Sometimes it seems like he wants to facilitate. Sometimes it seems like he's fine just hanging out and doing his thing. He can have these amazing moments though. So I think maybe the play is, I'm going to repurpose it a little bit. I'm going to keep your assist side of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look towards a 35 plus and maybe even a 40 plus for Kyrie and play it down the stretch each of these games. If it goes to, it's going to go 6 and maybe if it goes 7, I think there is going to be at least one game in these final 3 as the pressure mounts on Dallas where he's like, all right, Luka's not scoring. PJ Washington can only do so much. I do have to kind of carry the team at this point if I want us to get to the Western Conference Finals. I think he has one of these 3 games. He has that ceiling at all times. It's just a matter of, is he feeling like he wants to take on that scoring load that night? So I think looking towards to an alt escalator on his points for each of these games until the series is over, and then playing at least the baseline on the assists, because he is doing so much from the playmaking side of things. I absolutely love the series lead for assists. I honestly didn't even look because I assumed the number had been adjusted. And then I saw that in the rundown. I was like, oh, Brandon dropped in a stale number from last time. I can't believe it's still there. That's amazing. So definitely with you on that. And I think, maybe the points escalator side of things with the assists is the way to go with Kyrie.
I'm going to assume, too, I don't really play live props, but especially considering Kyrie has been such a slow starter scoring-wise and getting the assists and then cranks it up late, that seems to me, if you like the Kyrie escalator points angle, playing that live, playing it like at halftime or something, might be a way to jump in. And I don't know if you can escalate live necessarily. I don't know if those lines are available, but what do you think about the live angle on the Kyrie points?
Yeah, I think that's a very good. I also am not the biggest live better, but I do know that the times I have done it, it's when there's a very distinct game script for a player who tends to skew. We always talk about the extremes, right? The books struggle with the extremes. A player who's extremely first quarter heavy, like a Joel Embiid or something like that, or a player who's extremely fourth quarter heavy, like a Kyrie. So yeah, I definitely think there's some value to be had there in that live market as well.
All right, we'll tell Joe Delera. So watch Joe's feed. He'll make a whole bunch of money off of betting this live over. My last leg on my same game parlay here is PG Washington. Again, I'm just looking at what we're seeing right now, and what I'm seeing right now is that that Oklahoma City is saying, I can live with it. I can live with PJ Washington. I can live with him doing what he's doing. Frankly, they don't necessarily have a great answer for him anyway, the way that they have the defenders out there, but they are living with him getting up volume. Last 3 games, PJ scored 29, 27, 21, and he has taken 7 of 11 threes. That was game 2. That was the crazy outlier, except, oops, not an outlier. 5 of 12, 5 of 11 since then. And look, that sort of volume is going to make you comfortable, and that sort of volume on effectively rhythm threes open from the corner, where we know that is the best 3-point shot you can get, with Kyrie or Luka hitting you probably in rhythm, giving you the ball in the pocket where you want it. 5 of 11, 5 of 12. I'm not so sure that's outlier anymore. When you get that sort of volume and you're confident the way he is right now, I don't know, maybe you expect 4 out of 11 and 4 out of 12, but that's 33%. Like, I don't think 5 is a crazy outcome here. So again, what's the number? Over 2.5 threes. I'm looking at 11 and 12 attempts, and I only got to make 3 of those. That is below poor career percentage shooter PJ Washington's averages if I'm getting that many attempts. And I know it doesn't necessarily go that way. Maybe you start out 0 for 4 and you don't get all the attempts up anymore. That's what we have to live with as bettors here. So again, over 2.5. If you want to get aggressive there's margin. All 3 of these things, there's real margin for how much aggression you could add if you wanted to go 4 or 5 3-pointers. Points here as well. His line is 15.5. He's scored 21, 27, 29. So I think, again, there's room for error there. He's getting to the bucket on some of these. I even laughed. There's a book that has 3-pointers per game for the series up. PJ Washington's over-under is 3.8 3-pointers per game for the series right now. A ludicrous number, but he's a full 3-pointer over that. He's 4.8 right now. Like, he can hit 3 a couple games and still be over that, which tells me that over 2.5 is not the right number here. It tells me that we should be playing that number. So my same game parlay, Luka points under 29.5, Kyrie assists over 5.5, PJ over points and assists, 15.5 points. Sorry, not points and assists, points and threes, 15.5 points, 2.5 threes. At our sponsor BetMGM, that is a plus 650. That's hit each of the last 2 games. And it is not squeaking by. Like, I know we do the cherry pick thing. Oh, here's my parlay. It's hit 2 games in a row. Luka 29.5 under. He's going under that by like almost 10 points a game. Some of these. Kyrie assists over. That one's a little closer because assists are hard to come by. But he's got a 9 and 11 a couple of these games. PJ is scoring 21 every game. He's hitting 5 threes. We only need half of that. So I think that's a really good ticket to grab. And again, as you listen, as you build, like, shop around, of course. Like, I found a slight alt here. You want to like kind of do a same game escalator. Luka under 26.5. So only 3 points lower. Still margin there. Kyrie over 6.5 assists. Only 1 more. And PJ 20 points. It's plus 1,300. I doubled my price, even though I only had to get like 2 more PJ buckets, 1 less Luka bucket, 1 more assist from Kyrie. That one's hit the last 2 as well. And again, with some room to spare. So I like this a lot. I think you get creative, play them individually, play some alts if you like, play the escalator the same game. That's my favorite bet here, other than the Kyrie assist leader. Do you have any thoughts just on where we go from here on the series, Oklahoma City futures, any other angles on this one before we get to Celtics and Cavs?
Yeah, well, one of the best tickets that you Joe and I are sitting on via you over the last summer is that Thunder Western Conference winner at 65-1. And unfortunately, maybe it's I hate hedging out and I love doubling down and I still like the Thunder, so I am really stubborn and I'm not going to do anything. I don't think this is the time to do anything. I do think if the Thunder do get through the series, I do think that's the time we can leverage that ticket and be on the other side of it, because I do think the two best teams in the West right now are playing in that other series. But I don't know. I've been low on Dallas all year. I've been high on OKC in terms of a playoff perspective compared to the market. Why am I going to why am I going to go against both of those things just to hedge out a little bit of a really fun ticket that was a small enough ticket that, if it loses, it's like a random WNBA singular bet on a night, like, right. Let's not cut into that. Let's enjoy the big ticket. If you got into it, I think you let it ride. I still am on the OKC side of things. I think it comes down to what I said earlier, where you got 2 or 3 at home. You got the best player in the series. Those are two pretty big factors. You got what we think is the better coach if he wakes up from the Rick Van Winkle nap he's got going on the sideline right now. Overall, I don't want to bite into what is potentially a great ticket at this point. Let's wait a little bit longer. Let's wait till hopefully the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hedging is code for giving away some of the profit angle that we worked so very hard to give ourselves.
Yep.
And sometimes that's right. Sometimes that can be fair. And, if you've got like that life-changing ticket that we keep seeing floating around the internet, maybe you got to make a business decision at some point. But I think, too, it depends on, like you said, you still like Oklahoma City a lot for the series. Well, maybe not a lot. I won't put words in your mouth. But you still like OKC on the series. I have it really close. I have OKC 53%, Dallas 47%. And I'll just tell you, when it's a best of 3 left and you got 2 of the home games, that's really low for me for OKC. Like, I am usually very high on the home team in that spot with the best player, as I agree Shea is. So my numbers would have slight value on the Mavs. I see a plus 135 on the series. I don't mind if you tailed before the series and we have Oklahoma City in 6 or 7. As I did last round in the stupid Mavs series, my best bet I wanted to make was over 5.5 games, and I didn't like the juice, so I didn't make it, so I don't get credit for it. And I talked myself into, okay, well, if it's a long series, which team do I like? Give me Clippers in 6 or 7. Oops, over 5.5, but I got the wrong side. Here we are. Over 5.5 games would be cashed already. I could have already cashed my best bet, but I didn't, so I don't get credit. But I got Mavs in 6 or 7. Depending on how you feel, if you feel like the Mavs are still the better side here, I don't blame you. I sort of feel like I kind of agree with you. My numbers are effectively allowing that. And so I don't mind if you wanted to bet that angle. I see slight value on Mavs game 5 and series double plus 240. I'd make that around plus 200. I'm probably not going to bet these because I just feel like this is very close. And again, I don't need it here. So I don't know where this goes. To me, this is the toss-upiest series, I think, going forward, probably. Well, I don't know, maybe Knicks Pacers, but by the time that folks listen to this, that one will be less toss-uppy because we'll have a game 5 in the books. All right, let's go quickly to our favorite series of the round, Cavs at Celtics. Celtics minus 15.5. Total at 205.5. No Donovan Mitchell from game 4. I don't believe we've had any clear word yet on Donovan Mitchell for game 5. 15.5 points would be the largest favorite post round 1 in our Bet Labs system. The largest favorite after round 1 in 20 years, at least 20 years. That's how far back we go. And just for fun, May 21st, 2017, 15.5 point spread, Boston, Cleveland. Of course, how could it be anyone but these two teams, except it goes the other way because it's 2017 and one of these teams has LeBron on it. Celtics win 111-108 as the giant underdog. Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, 47 combined. Our guy LeBron, 11, 6, and 6. That's a full game line, 45 minutes, 11, 6, and 6. Minus 12.5 BPM. Love my single game BPM. Not my goat, that's for sure. Cavs won the series 4-1. That was the one win that Boston pulled off. And then, of course, we remember what happened in the finals against the Kevin Durant Warriors from there. So 13-point favorites or more after round 1 are 3-9 against the spread. as a pretty small sample, but not a great spot necessarily. And of course, we just had that in game 2. We had Boston as the huge home favorite. They got destroyed. They lost by 24. Donovan Mitchell was alive for that game. But that's the setup. That's Cavs Celtics. The Cavs at BetMGM on the money line are plus 875. I do have an angle if you must play this game. But Jim, my favorite thing about this game, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off, the best thing about this game is you and I and Joe Delara get to watch Survivor live. We're down to the final 6. We got 1 episode left before the finale. So Joe Delara, our guy, gave us betting lines. We're going to give you 1 minute of Survivor. You don't want Survivor. You don't want to be spoiled by you're not caught up yet. Skip 1 minute ahead. Here's the betting line. Who's going to win Survivor? This is your best bet. Maria, plus 175. Charlie, plus 200. Kenzie, plus 425. Ben, 10-1. Q, 20-1. Liz, 30-1. Jim Turvey, you got 30 seconds. Give me your case.
Well, first of all, I'll make it really quick. Tell the people I have the majority of these people remaining in our Survivor pool. I am in great position right now. I'm looking good. I've got Charlie. I think Charlie wins, but at plus 200, that's a little short. Let's go for my guy Q. He was messing with heads at tribals over and over and over again. He can flip that in a final tribal. He's like a salesman. He can really sell himself at that final tribal. He gets dragged there, and then last second he makes the pitch, gives me the 20-1 ticket, and I have him on my roster. Gives me the victory on both sides. Q, my man, let's do it.
Big mistake. I'm taking Charlie 2-1. I think Joe should have made him the favorite here. I'd swap him and Maria. Give me a little nibble on Ben 10-1 just because this season doesn't make any sense. I love it. I love Survivor. That's it. They're going to kill me if we talk any more about Survivor. Let's talk about the game. Max Strus is an angle I like. You're looking at Jaylen Brown. Talk to me about Jaylen Brown hedging.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, this is the only thing keeping me in this series. Before the series, I gave out Jaylen Brown to lead the series in points at plus 750. He is 3 points back of Jason Tatum. He's in a great spot before last night's game 4. Last night's game 4. Tatum had a really big night. Now, I'm hoping this series wraps up. They're certainly massive money line favorites. Like you have a note here. Have we learned anything useful from the series? No, we haven't. Let's just get this thing along. Let's cash our extra ugly Celtics minus 1.5, minus 390 ticket. That was glorious. I tailed long on that. For this, if you got in on these Jaylen Brown tickets, I think you basically now have a free roll on Tatum to lead the game in scoring. So I think I'm going to bet Tatum to lead the game in scoring, just a small number, just to kind of cover my original Jaylen bet. Technically, we could get middled if Jaylen scores like 1 or 2 more points than Tatum tonight. And that'll be very fitting for this series that has just kind of been an ass cheek of a series in general. So hopefully that somehow doesn't happen, and I feel like it might based on everything that has been so ugly and gross about the series. But overall, give a little, if you got that Jaylen ticket, let's do Tatum to lead the game in points just to cover our original bet. See if we can, maybe somehow land the plane there with Jaylen at the plus 750. But if not, we've got ourselves a little bit covered.
Yeah, I like that. I looked up Celtics minus 1.5 on the series again, just to hammer it home. And it's not even offered. There are no books giving us odds on Celtics minus 1.5 anymore. So I did not watch the game last night as per my tradition on Celtics right now. I was out eating, enjoying life with friends, using some of my winnings that I'm already counting on this one. Here's what I saw afterward. Looking at the lines, the Cavs got up a ton of threes. And I think that is consistent. This is not the, this is what Spo did, variance, bomb the threes. I'm not giving JB Bickerstaff credit for that. This is, we don't have Donovan Mitchell. We don't have Jared Allen. We're going to have to score somehow. What do we do? And what I saw is Darius Garland took 13 threes, Max Strus, 5 of 9, Sam Merrill, 2 of 7. They got up almost 50 threes. And here's the angle. Max Strus from December 18th to January 3rd. This is a guy, and he did this for Miami too. When you get a really shorthanded team, my guy Max is like, cool, let me shoot. Let me just shoot threes and see what we can pull out here. So for that stretch, 8 games, he took 10.3 threes a game. He made 3.5 of them, 34%. Not that great of a three-point shooter, to be totally honest. The numbers aren't that great for him in his career, but he thinks he is. The team thinks he is. And I like volume. So he's getting the threes up. His line is at over 2.5 plus 120. So this is a play only if Donovan Mitchell is out. So you got to wait for that. And I don't need this one that bad. So if you just want to skip it or sit this one out, that's fine. 17.5 points is plus 400 for Max Strus. If he's getting this sort of volume up on threes, he can get to the basket and get a couple twos in there as well. I don't mind that one. I think those are the angles if you're looking for something here. But yeah, I'm looking to watch Survivor. That's what I'm looking for in this game. All right, let's recap the best bets. Jim, what were your best bets for Wednesday night?
Luka under 29.5 points, Kyrie over 28.5 points plus assists. But as I talked through with Kyrie, I'm also going to be looking at some escalators out there as well, 35, maybe even 40 points.
All right, I am on the Dallas OKC game under 213.5. And then that same game parlay, Luka points under, Kyrie assists over, PG Washington threes and points over. That is plus 650 at BetMGM. And then play around with those individually, the alts, the escalators, all that fun stuff. And then probably my favorite bet of the day, that Kyrie stale assist leader, 7-1 bet that I agree. I looked it up and I thought it would not even be available anywhere near this price anymore. And I couldn't believe it still was. So give me that one again. 7-1 on Kyrie to lead the series in assists. Let's see if we can hit one of those. My other tickets this round, Gafford rebounds and Lively rebounds and Jamal Murray assists. They're not going well. So let's see if we can get one of these here. Those are our best bets. Enjoy Mavs. Enjoy Thunder. Watch Celtics Cavs if you must. Find some angle out there. Let's get buckets. We'll see you next time.